Hey guys, welcome to this video. And in this one, I am feeling like fall. So I am obsessed with everything fall. We are going to do these beautiful, super easy, super quick, very beginner friendly pumpkins for the fall. There are 3 sizes here, and I'm going to give you the pattern for all 3. Okay. So the cinnamon sticks are definitely optional. These are stackable pumpkins, so you don't have to use cinnamon sticks. Um, if you don't want to stack them, you can actually crochet an actual stem. We'll get into that in another video, but stay tuned.
You are beautifully and wonderfully made. Yes, you are beautifully, you're wonderfully made.
Okay, so in the video, we are going to be crocheting a medium size pumpkin, but these are the instructions for all 3 sizes. All right, guys, the pattern is so simple and it's the same in all 3 pumpkins. You're only going to pay attention to the chain and the rows. So the small pumpkin, you only chain 10 and you're doing 14 rows. The medium pumpkin, you are chaining 15 and you are crocheting 24 rows. And finally, for the large pumpkin, you are chaining 20 and you are crocheting a total of 26 rows. So there you have it. You have your pattern for all 3. So let's get started with the medium pumpkin. I am using this Lion Brand Wool Ease yarn. This is their thick and quick yarn. It literally works up so fast and I love the thickness of it. And I also love this color choice. So this is a size 6 super bulky yarn. It is 79% acrylic, 20% wool. Usually I go by the hook recommendation that's on the actual yarn, but this time I did not. You'll see that coming up. But this yarn is in the color Starlight, and all the other colors of the pumpkins will be listed below. So we're going to need a 8mm hook, which is equivalent to a L, and you're going to need some scissors and also some ribbon. So this ribbon, I mean, it's the ribbon of your choice. I just went for this light ribbon. I didn't want it to distract from the pumpkins themselves. And you're going to need a darning needle. And I had to run to the store to get a darning needle that would fit this yarn. So the 9.5 centimeter was a perfect fit. I had no issues threading it. So yeah, make sure you have the right materials. I'm sorry, I forgot to film this, but you're going to need cinnamon sticks for your pumpkin stems, and you're going to need polyfill to stuff your pumpkins. All right, so we're going to start our chain, but we want to start with a slip knot. So I'm just going to put my yarn over my hook and I'm going to twist it, pull the tail over the long part of my yarn, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through. This is how I make my slip knot. You can make it however you want. There's a ton of ways to make it, but I find this to be easier, or the easiest way for me. So once I have my slip knot, we want to start with our chain. And for this one, we are chaining a total of 15. So you're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Now this is a very beginner friendly stitch or pattern. You guys should definitely know how to chain, but again, I always like to kind of go over it very quickly, but you're literally just yarning over and pulling through. You want to make sure that your tension is consistent throughout. You don't want it to be too loose and you definitely don't want it to be too tight, but just make sure that all your chains are uniform, that there's nothing twisting, and you will chain until you get to chain number 15. Okay, so now that I've completed my 15 chains, I'm going to get ready to go to the next row. So I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to skip the first chain. I'm going into that second chain. After I yarn over, I'm pushing through my hook and I'm going to then yarn over, pull through one chain. There's 3 left on my hook and I'm going to yarn over, pull through all 3. That is a half double crochet. Literally the only thing that you're going to do for this entire project. So I'm going to do it again. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, insert our hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. We're going to repeat that all the way to the end. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. And we're going to complete that the entire row. Now we chained a total of 15. It should be 14 crochets, 14 half double crochets. So I'm just counting to make sure that will help you keep your pattern even as well. If you just remember that you're now going to have 14 stitches. So once we get to the end of a row, we're going to chain 1. We're going to flip our work. And now what we're going to do is the same thing, half double crochets. We're going into the very next stitch, and what we're going to do is we're going to go into the back loop. So the back loop, you're going to see like a whole bunch of beads at the top of your previous row. This is your back loop. You're only going to insert your hook into the back loop. Typically we would crochet under both, but again, because we want to create these ridges, we're going to go in the back loop only. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook in that back loop, pull through, and then we're going to yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, insert hook in the back loop, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3, and repeat. And that's it, guys. I mean, it is a 1 stitch repeat. You're going to work this stitch in the back loop. You know, like I said, you're going to chain after each row. You're going to turn it, and you're going to work in those back loops. And for this medium pumpkin, we are crocheting a total of 24 rows. Okay, so rows 2 through 24 is the same thing. It's repeating over and over again. So I'm going to let you watch a little bit longer, and then I will complete most of my rows off camera, and I'll be back when I am at my final row. And guys, don't forget to count though. Remember to count, because sometimes that little corner row can be a little tricky and a little tough to get into, and it will make you second guess yourself. But as long as you're counting, you are fine. So you're going to go ahead and go into that last stitch, should I say, and you know, make sure that there's a total of 14. This is what the first 2 rows are looking like. And then again, after each row, we are chaining 1. We're going to turn our work, and then we're going to continue. Okay, guys, so these are 4 rows now that I've completed, and I just wanted you to see the ridging that going into the back loops have created, and then we're just going to keep going, and I'll meet you back when I am almost towards the end. Okay, so I believe I am on my last row, and I am just finishing up the half double crochet, and this is what we are looking like, guys. So this pattern can be done using any type of yarn. So you just want to make sure that if you are using a yarn that's different from the bulky yarn, that the width of your project is 3 times the length. Um, so I'm just going here, just trying to measure, eyeballing it, making sure it's about 3 times the size, the width as the height, should I say. And it's looking pretty good. Don't worry about how I'm measuring it. It makes sense in my head and it's going to work out. But again, 3 times your width needs to be as your height. Okay. So now I am taking a very, very long amount of string, cutting that off because you want to make sure that you have enough string to weave through. So now I'm just pulling that string through my last loop on that row, and I am getting ready to connect it. So we are going to connect both sides. So I decided to connect both sides with just a simple slip stitch. So basically what I am going to do is I am pretty much just inserting my hook and taking that long tail of yarn. I'm going to grab it and pull it through. Inserting my hook, taking that yarn and grabbing it and pulling it through. So I'm making sure that I'm going through the tops of both sides to join them. And just like I stated earlier, throughout crocheting or with any project, make sure that your tension is consistent throughout. You don't want to slip stitch this and that part is like tight. And just remember to take your time with this part because you are going through such a thick piece of yarn. You are going to run into, like, a little bit of trouble getting your hook in, but take your time. And then once you're done, it's going to look awesome. So we want to pull our yarn all the way through at this point. And what I like to do is tie the long strand to the short strand. That short strand is coming from our slip knot in the very beginning with the chain. So I just want to secure that. And then what I'm going to do with that little short end that came from the chain, we're just going to take our darning needle and we're going to thread that throughout the slip stitch that we just did, joining the two pieces together, or joining the one piece together, should I say. And we're going to go in and just kind of hide that in between those stitches. No particular, I mean, you don't have to follow any particular pattern. Again, when you are um, using your darning needle, you just again want to be mindful that you're not pulling too hard, that you're not distorting your project. You are just trying to basically hide this tail. So I weave it through maybe about 4 or 5 times. And then on my last one, I am going to weave it in one last time and keep it in the inside. So I'm going to, because that's going to be the inside of my pumpkin. This is fine. It's secure enough. I'm going to cut it off. And then I am going to start with the drawstringing, or creating the bottom of the actual pumpkin. All right, so to create the drawstring, we are literally just weaving our yarn in and out. I find it easier to weave it through the loops that are just single loops. It'll make it much easier for you. So you're just going to weave it all the way around till you get back to the starting point. And the tail that I left, it is very long, but it's necessary. So make sure you leave enough and don't get frustrated because you have to pull like so much. It's going to be worth it in the end because I did not want to have to join pieces of yarn together. I'd rather have more and not need it than not have enough and needed it. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm just going in and out, and I will meet you when I get around to the other side. Okay, guys, so now I'm pretty much back around to the beginning, and I'm just going to gently pull on that string, and that's going to close up my project. It's going to form like a little, almost like a hat, a round shape. And I'm just making sure that it's all closing the way that I want it. And this is the bottom of your pumpkin. So you want to pull it as tight as possible, but not to the point where you will, possibly tear your yarn. If you're okay with the hole looking like this, you can, because it is the bottom, but I'm not. So I'm going to just take my needle and I'm just going to close that hole up. So there's no particular form or fashion. I am just weaving in and out until I get the hole as tight as possible. And so once I get it where there's no visible hole, I am going to take my needle once I secure it at the bottom, and I'm going to push my needle through, and then I'm going to pull it through the inside of the pumpkin. So I'm just piercing the bottom, and I'm just going to pull that through now. And I want to make sure that this part is secure as well. So I'm just going to thread my needle through the inside just one time, and that will secure it. All right, so now we're going to get ready to stuff it. You're going to take some of your polyfill and you're just going to begin to stuff the pumpkin. You want to make sure that you don't overstuff, but you also want to do enough so that once you start to draw the project in and create the pumpkin, that it's not flat, like you still want enough. All right, guys, so I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and start the process of creating the drawstring for the top of the pumpkin. So I am just weaving in and out as we did at the bottom of the pumpkin. And I'm just going to go all the way around. I'm just making sure that the polyfill is not intertwining with the actual yarn. So I'm kind of holding that out the way as I go around. And then once I get to the other side of the pumpkin, I'm just going to pull the drawstring like we did previously. And I'm just going to be gentle as I'm pulling it and then making sure that the stuffing stays intact. At the top of the pumpkin, which it literally already looks like a pumpkin, I'm excited. You want to have a hole. For this project, we're not crocheting a stem. We're going to add a stem because this is going to be a stackable pumpkin. So you want to have the option of having a stem or not. So what I'm doing now is I am just securing the drawstring or the pumpkin so that way that hole stays intact in the middle. Usually I would just, as you see, I have my finger there. If you want the hole to be a little smaller, you can use your pinky. Or if you want to place an object in there that will, fill the hole, you can do that. But I am just putting my yarn through to secure it. Okay, so you definitely can stop here because this is totally looking like a pumpkin, but I want to create some grooves. So, or some indentations. So in between the grooves of the pumpkin, I am taking my string and I'm pulling it a little taut. I'm securing it at the bottom, and then I'm just going to bring it up to the top and I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to secure it once I pull it a little taut, and I want to make sure that once I pull it, I'm able to go on and do my next indentation. So I'm going to pull it, making sure that my yarn is where I want my next groove to be. So because it's not really in the right place, I am now securing my yarn. I'm moving it over to the next groove, and I am then just going to place my string, pull it in between those grooves, between those bridges, I'm sorry, and I'm going to secure it that way. So, basically what you're doing is you're looking at the pumpkin, you're going in between the ridges, placing the string there to create a groove, if that makes any sense. And if you guys have questions, please leave them in the comments below. Um, I am not a professional crocheter. This is a hobby of mine. It is a stress reliever. It helps me relax. And I get really excited when I, can do new projects and they turn out okay. So this one, I think for it to be my first time doing a pumpkin, it came out great. I'm hoping that you guys are having the same experience. But if you have questions or concerns, leave them in the comments below and I will guarantee you that I will respond. If you are commenting and it's, months after I've created it, please don't get upset if I don't respond right away because, yeah, sometimes I have to refresh my memory with these videos. But now we're just going to continue to create these grooves and I will meet you guys at the end once I'm done with the grooves, and I'll let you know what's the next step. All right, guys, so I am done creating the grooves, and right now I am just securing the yarn before I clip it off. So I'm just going back and forth a little bit, and what I'm going to do once I'm satisfied, I kind of intertwine it so that way it creates a knot, and then I'm going to cut it. And what I'll do is I'm not cutting it very short, I'm cutting it kind of long, and I'm just going to tuck it inside the pumpkin. Just pushing it inside the pumpkin, and voila. I mean, this is the finished product. Um, I'm going to take my little string. Now this ribbon, you guys may want to opt for a different ribbon. This was very flimsy and very light, so it was kind of difficult to work with. But again, I just think that this is such a cute project, cute gift, things that you can give, for fall decor. And yeah, please thumbs up this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see next. But this is great. Happy fall, guys. Mwah, smooches. Be blessed, and most importantly, be a blessing.
You are